everyone, this is Erin Krieg with LBV Baby. I am just sharing with you tonight a little bit of insight on how to edit, some nice simple editing to get a fantastic end result like this. When maybe your baby the situation wasn't perfect and the baby didn't want to go into the pose exactly the way that you wanted. So this is my finished edit. We're going to go back over to Lightroom and show you this is my image. Well, this is my image straight out of the camera. So everything, basic pose is right spot on. The lighting is right. The hand is under the chin. Fingers are flat. Chin is to the shoulder. Elbow is to the knee. Foot is tucked in just right. But I could not get her to relax and arch her back the way that I wanted. She wanted to keep sticking her back up instead of relaxing and letting me see that nice big curve. So I pull my raw image into Lightroom, and I'm going to tell you all my secrets. The very first thing that I do is add minus 30 to the blacks, +1 for the vibrance, and -10 for the saturation. And then I go down to the lens correction, make sure this is checked so it takes into account the lens that I'm shooting with. And then last but not least, I change my camera calibration to portrait. You can see there's a little bit of poo-poo on the backdrop where she had an accident. We were flying through this session and I was not going to switch out that backdrop for anything. The other issue is that she has some diaper rash on her butt and some little flakies on her face. So after I get done just doing that basics, that's what it looks like. Changing the settings over on the right that I showed you about, cleaning up the skin flecks and the poo-poo with my spot removal brush. This image is what I'm going to export out of Lightroom. So here we are in Photoshop. So what do I do? Because her pose is not perfect, how can I fix her pose? Well, I can massage it a little bit by using my liquify tool. So what I'm going to do is start with this nice big brush. It's a size 1000 point, and I'm just going to take it and edge her back down just a little bit, nothing too drastic. Remember, the whole point of when you use this is that you should not be able to tell that you did anything. I'm going to go back to the end and just kind of pull her backside out a little bit. For those of you that shoot newborns regularly, you know that newborns have pointy butts. They're kind of bony and pointy. I go to just a little bit of a smaller brush and take some of these bumps out just so I have a nice smooth back. Hit OK. So there we are. There's our after, before, after. The second thing that I'm noticing about this image is that I have my camera just turned a little bit too much for my crop. So I'm going to take her, and I really wanted to have that nice look like her bum's up in the air, so I'm going to rotate my canvas just a little bit. Now when I do that, of course, I lose my background in the corner, so I have to get my clone tool and kind of put that back. And what I can tell you is I am the world's messiest cloner, and I'm a lazy Photoshopper, so I only clone when I can be lazy. I'm not a person that you're going to be asking to retouch all your stuff. But for little things like this, I'm good enough. Oh, see, look, really messy right there. Go back. Okay, so there we are. The next thing we need to fix is I actually like this tool right here, and I can never remember the name of it. It'll pop up in a second. The patch tool. I find the patch tool to be a lot more forgiving than the clone tool. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use the patch tool to take out these really dark diaper rash spots on her butt. And it's so forgiving that I can just pick any smooth skin. Whoops, that's a bad circle. And there we go. Now the next thing that I'm going to tell you, actually, I'll get this little bit of yellow. That kind of bothered me too. There, that looks a bit better. The next thing that we got to address is the redness of the diaper rash. And I find the very best way to go about it is to go to a levels layer, change to the blue channel, and drag it a little bit to the right. And you'll kind of see everything turn yellow. Once you start to notice it turning yellow, back it up just a smidge. And then go back to your RGB layer, and you want to drag it to the left, and you're going to lighten everything. So you can see that changes my whole image, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to make my layer mask black, and then I'm going to switch to white as my foreground layer and kind of zoom in here to her little backside and paint the red part. Apply the layer to just the red part. And if I go too much, you'll see my background gets a little bit yellow. But if I kind of go back, you'll notice, turn it off, more red, turn it on. So it just kind of eases it up a little bit, but I'm going to go back into my blue channel because I feel like I've made it a little bit too yellow. Pull it just a smidge back to the right. And then if I go into my RGB, I'm going to make it just a little bit lighter. You can kind of see. There we are. Original, improved. So I like that. Now I'm going to go back to anywhere that looks a little bit red because newborns have a tendency to be red. Little feet and hands, when you get them in the position and circulation kind of gets cut off, they have a tendency to get blue or red looking like that. This is a great way to fix those. And then she's got a little bit of a red spot on her eyes. We can take that out. And then she's got a nice red spot down her face. And we can kind of fix all that. So if I turn the levels off, you'll see what I fixed. All those red spots come back. Kind of a nice little trick. So we've got pretty much in the ballpark of what we want. Now it's time to put a little LBV baby style on it. And what I do for that is I use Totally Rad Actions. Prettyizer is one of my signature ones, but I take it down to 50% because I don't want to look too overdone. And then my other secret action is I use a Florabella Soft Urban is one of my signature looks, and I take it down to 20%. So there's our finished baby. If I go back to what we started with out of Lightroom, and then our fully retouched image, hopefully it looks nice and soft and natural, and our tushy is up in the air just the way we want it. So that's what I got to share with you tonight. If you want to keep learning more, think about signing up for our workshop this summer. It'll be in July. Have a great night.